we go.
Yay!
We're learning, people. Maybe we should talk about what a retrograde is.
And why it's possible that we've had technical difficulties.
Okay. All right. So we're recording, we're live streaming. Heidi, I think we might be good. All right. Would you like to introduce us, Heidi?
Sure. Hi, I am Heidi Esther, a joy and mindfulness storyteller, and I am happy to introduce the inaugural show of Live with Heidi and Heather. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We are here to bring you twice a month doses of life stories and all sorts of awesome things like dogs on paddleboards, yoga, and grumpy teenagers to get you on the path to personal freedom, joy, and happiness.
Yes. Huzzah. All right. I'm glad you're here, Heidi.
Yeah. I'm grateful to be here with you, Heather.
Thanks. It's going to be fun. All right. So what are we talking about today?
Well, first, you know what's up? We're going to do some intros and then we're going to chat a little bit about why we're here.
Okay.
And then we're going to end with a topic we're going to call No Seriously. And maybe a lesson we learned this week, either painful or not painful if we're lucky. And then I have this.
Ooh.
This is called the Bowl of Affirmation.
Nice.
So I will pick out affirmations, and I was going to pick out affirmations for everybody that I see who is with us, but I don't know how to see who is with us this week. So I'm just going to pick out affirmations for us, and then we'll just use them as markers for the whole community.
I like that. I'm looking on my phone at the page, and not seeing anything. And you're not seeing anything either?
No, I'm going to go to my Facebook page and see if it's there by chance, or your Facebook page. Let's see if we're live on my page by some random chance. Let's see. I don't see us live on my page. So we're just gonna go with it. And we're gonna figure out how to see it. Yeah, I see my video from this morning, but I don't see any lives.
Yeah, and I don't see it in notifications either. Usually I see it there.
Do you think it's at your husband's coffee shop page?
No, I don't. Not this time. It is 11:11 though. So
it's officially time to make a wish.
Okay.
So we are not on my personal page.
And I didn't see us on my page.
Okay. All right. So we're just going to let it go. And if you are here, we had a bunch of ways to interact with you, beautiful souls, on Facebook, and we will get to you soon. I actually had a dream last night. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of dreams where I wake up and then I act on them because it's the universe. Like I'm finally quiet enough, for the universal consciousness to break in through all my layers of human doing.
Right.
And so I was helping this girl get back into the water because she was a mermaid. She was she was dry. She was like, I'm so sad. And I was like, oh, let me help you over these rocks so you can go be a mermaid again. And that was fantastic. And the news that she parted with me was that Facebook, what was making her dry and dusty, and I needed to move over to YouTube. So,
wow.
So I woke up this morning, I was like, oh, maybe YouTube is the way. So maybe we'll stream on YouTube next time and be able to see comments.
I'm okay with that. I just actually had some wonderful person just the other day follow me on Facebook. our Facebook, YouTube. And I was like, I guess I better put something up there. I have some yoga videos and some meditations. And it has been my intention to go through each of the hot yoga poses on YouTube, teaching the series one by one and then doing the whole series. And that hasn't happened yet.
Oh,
There's a lot of things to do when you run your own business. There's a lot.
In the entrepreneur realm, they kind of come at you. You open a new door, you're like, oh, this is a new skill I need. And it's not a new door to another room. It's a new door to like another universe of things.
Yes. And more things to like, okay, I have to learn to do this now. So I'm going to turn on my light because I'm wondering if that might help. Does that help at all?
You look fabulous before and after.
Okay. Well then,
no,
it's fine. Yes, I'm a yoga instructor, so I am sitting on the floor.
Oh, this is nice. So how are you taking care of yourself today, Heather?
How am I taking care of myself? I took my dog for a walk. We always enjoy doing that, and I was happy to see not only that the leaves on the tree were red. A lot of the trees haven't changed here, but this one tree is bright red, and some of the leaves are now falling, but they're not crunchy yet. There is dew, like big drops of dew on all of them. So that was my little like nurturing magic moment this morning. And then later today, I am having 3 of my best girlfriends come over and we're having Thai food. So I'm getting some girlfriend time.
That sounds amazing. And for those of you who have just met Heather, this is her birthday week. So she is practicing her future self schedule.
That's right. That's right. It hasn't gone well so far, but
working into we're a little bit less on the yoga, a little bit more on the breathing and the writing and the creating.
Yes, yes. I will always teach yoga for all of you who just like started freaking out and hyperventilating. I will always be teaching yoga. I would like to cultivate more writing into my life. That's what this week is about.
So, fantastic. Yes. So how's that going? Are you writing every day, like set time or?
It is before my week off. I have a sketch set 2 hours that I write every day that I'd like to increase. However, the past 2 days have been chores and errands. And it's funny because on my normal weeks, Mondays and Tuesdays are always crazy. And then things mellow out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it still happened. It still happened that way, even though I'm on vacation. So it's like, I don't know if that's just the way the energy is in the routine of doing. And you learn lots of things. So
you can't give up everything every week. You still got to eat.
You still got to eat, and I still have to do my newsletter, and that's what I do on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so, but otherwise, it's been really nice to sleep in. It's been really nice to stay up late and read my book and not worry about having to wake up early in the morning. Not to my husband's happiness. He was like, okay, you need to turn off the light now. I have to go to sleep. I was like,
so he works he is a manager of a coffee shop, or
he owns 2 coffee shops.
Okay, so he's got to be an early riser.
No, he doesn't. He has people to do that, but it was coming close to midnight, and he was like, "Come on, I gotta go to sleep." So you know what I did then? I went under the covers. I used the light from my cell phone. It was like a really intense scene in my book, and I wanted to keep reading. So that's what I did.
Yeah. I love the reading every night. The how I took care of myself today was my wife just started a work schedule where she leaves for work around 5:15 in the morning, and then the dogs, she has to get them up out of their crates into the bedroom. So then I wake up, try to go back to sleep, and then the kids get up, and then I'm kind of awake / getting awake enough to drive them. And I tried to go back to sleep this morning because I was up until 10:30 with my son last night at soccer. And so I feel like it's just like in bed, out of bed, wake, asleep, awake, asleep. It's kind of like our bed is kind of like a train with too many stops.
Yeah.
I miss the days when we had a direct route to the next morning. So this morning I laid in bed for a little bit and did a quiet meditation and gently woke myself up. I guess that was been about the fourth time I woke myself up. But anyway, I think we should move on to the
Yes.
so so many questions, Heather. So now you're at a point where you're sharing your healing and all the lessons you've learned. So let's go all the way back and take me to the Heather and what Heather's life was like before the self-awareness, before the healing. What would that have felt like? What did that look like?
That Heather was, I refer to her as like numbed out zombie Heather, although I was still alive and hopefully still looked somewhat pretty, as opposed to like leprosy or something. Anyway, I've watched way too many zombie things. So, so
what even as a zombie, I think. So
thanks. So what that means is that I didn't think much of myself at all. I just went through my day-to-day routine without being aware. That's the numbing out, like sleepwalking through my life. And then just not really having many dreams, thinking that I wasn't worth having those dreams or I wasn't that person, things like that. So, yeah. And then I went to Europe and with a friend, and that's kind of what woke me up and kind of opened the world to me and made me realize that maybe life could be more of an adventure. Maybe I was that girl who could go do those adventures. So
was it just the traveling, or was it something specific about your friend, or where you went?
Both. So we this is my best friend. I've known her since high school, and we landed in Rome and then stopped in Cortona and then went to Florence and then went to Austria, Salzburg, and then we went to Copenhagen, and then we ended in Amsterdam for obvious reasons. We didn't start there. We might have gotten arrested in other countries later. So, and it was just this idea of this freedom and being able to travel and see. And there was this living, this in the moment living day to day. And then there was another moment that it pretty much kind of exemplifies everything that and this was in Rome. I'm pretty sure it was in Rome, might have been Florence. We walked into this leather store, and Jen, her name's Jen, my best friend's name's Jen, and she said, "You should get a leather jacket." And I said, no, I don't think so. I'm not really not that girl. And because she's my best friend, she knew I wasn't saying that's not my style. She knew I was saying I'm not worthy of having a leather jacket. That's what she heard. And because she's my best friend, she was like, "Oh, hell no. You are not leaving here till you buy a jacket." And so I bought a leather jacket and I wore that thing till it was in tatters. And so I bought it and I kind of giggled, and then we shipped it home. And I came back from Europe and I was just like, I'm a person that has hopes and dreams and interests and matters. And that was kind of how it all sparked up. And then that was in 98. And then a year later, I was like, screw this corporate world. And I ran away to massage school. And that was the beginning of the actual healing process. So Europe woke me up, and then the healing started.
Oh, wow. That's massage school got to be much more relaxing than running away to the circus.
Yes.
My brother-in-law, he did actually run away to the circus. So I know it still happens, but it's probably not as common as running away to massage school, though.
No, probably not. Was he in the circus for a long time?
He has been in Cirque for over 20 years. So yeah, he's at Ka in Las Vegas. Just they're ramping up the
Cirque du Soleil. Is he a performer?
Yes.
He's a performer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. I can tell you, while I was in massage school, I saw one of Cirque du Soleil's that came to town. And the whole time I'm watching them and their muscles and their muscle control. And I'm like, amazing. Like it was just
Yeah. He
fascinating to
doesn't
me.
even have to wear like a fake six pack because they actually have a suit that will give you like a six pack, or, you know, in the
Right.
case of Lego Batman, the 9 pack. But yeah, he doesn't even have to wear that because he got it. So I don't know
Wow.
about, you know, with the pandemic and everything, how he's been doing, but I know he's running a lot right now, and it's probably close to coming back if not already
Wow.
back. But yeah, as a 40 plus person, I worry more about his joints than
Mhm.
his muscles.
That's fair. That's
So
fair.
so yeah, but
Yeah.
I saw him 2019, and it was just fabulous. I want to let you know I did check on our Facebook page, and I see our video. So I know that we are live. I just cannot see any comments. So
Huh. Well, tell us what woke you up. Like, how did your story start? Your healing journey.
so my healing journey would have started with me as a mom of two almost infants, early toddlers. So my kids are 14 months apart.
Mm.
And so I was trying to do the perfect mom. I was doing cloth diapers, lots of
Mm.
laundry, and, you know, I didn't know how to cook. And so I was calling my mom every day for not only parenting advice, but like when the kids need to eat pureed things. I can't even tell how many times that I would put something hot that I cooked in the processor, and the processor lid would explode on. See, I can remember green beans for sure,
Yeah.
on the ceiling, and I think there was something orange, and I'm pretty sure it was sweet potatoes on the ceiling also. And one time I remember when the kids were a little older, I was making spaghetti sauce that also ended up on the ceiling.
Wow.
Oh no, the range hood. Yeah. So I was kind of I was brought up to be a pretty independent kid and a very, very good caretaker. I can remember cleaning my parents' house, and when I was a teenager, you know, instead of going out and doing normal teenage things, I would just stay home and clean the house and do my homework and try to be like the best kid, classic middle child syndrome, right? And
Right.
so as a parent, I just tried to keep it all up. And there was this one point I remember I put this in my upcoming book. I was taking both my kids for a walk in the wagon, and I was sick.
Mm.
And at one point my son, he was always like a big bruiser. He was supposed to be like, you know, 15, 20 pounds, but he would be like 30 pounds. And he just ate like a machine, and pulling them both, as you can imagine, if you pull 50 pounds in a wagon, you know, you're gonna kind of start to
Mm.
be sore. And so I remember it was springtime, and my daughter, I kind of like had pulled the wagon to the side, and I needed a break. Like I had been running a marathon. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And my daughter, there was a flowering bush behind her. It was really pretty. And I grabbed, I always had my camera on me then, because it was back then and not smartphone land. And
Hmm.
I took a picture, and I used to do monthly slideshows of the kid's life for all the
Oh.
extended family. And I remember thinking that I was never in the picture. I was always
Mm.
taking the picture. And
Yeah.
I
That just like get you right
never,
here.
never in the picture. My hair had a permanent indent from ponytail holder. I had a wide variety of tracksuits. That was
Mhm.
my corporate office wear, tracksuits. So that, and there was a series of incidents between my son and my husband at the time where they kind of woke me up. And like, am I not only like, am I not in the picture, like, am I happy doing what I'm doing right now? Like, you know, spraying the poop off these cloth diapers in the toilet, is this, you know, is this filling my cup every day? uh, and so it really got me to think, like, kind of down this road of like, am I in the picture, am I happy, and then am I safe, are my
Mm.
kids safe? And so I kind of had these incidents would happen, and I started to kind of wake up, and there was this rub, and I couldn't, after a while, I just couldn't put it down. And my husband and I, we got into some therapy and everything, and thus my journey began. And at that point, I didn't really have a goal. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to embark on professional development and I'm going to feel, I just wanted to figure out what was happy for me. Like, I was like, this isn't happy. I knew what wasn't where I started to become aware of what wasn't working much sooner than I could figure out what was working, what I was doing. So, oh, in the background, that's my dog right there. Well, he's my step dog.
That's Elvis, right? Yeah.
Yep. Little Italian greyhound. So that's kind of where I was just a very overly codependent, didn't know myself. I was a very intuitive mom. I could take care of my kids before they started crying, like I knew what they needed. But when it came to me, not a clue. Not a clue. Yeah.
So you said that you knew what wasn't making you happy, but you didn't know what was going to make you happy. So that sounds to me like you took a leap of faith and just said, well, I know I don't want this, so I'm going to cut the cords to this and see what happens. Is that what happened?
So it was probably about a 3-year journey that took place to get me to, I think I had to find support. I was very isolated. And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I started reaching out to people. I didn't have any like just friends. I had like couple friends, and I had my mom I would call every day, and I didn't have that support. So I organically started finding people. I found someone who just like we clicked and we were friends. And that I was like, oh, well, I haven't had this feeling in a really long time. This feels good. And then my husband and I were seeing a pastor for pastoral care and counseling, and he quit, but I kept going. I'm like, I kind of need this because this guy's totally out of left field. Like, he asked me questions I wouldn't have thought. I'm going to hang out with this guy, figure it out. And so I guess intuitively or just out of necessity started making some baby steps, some connections with people to feel safe. I guess I was so isolated, I really didn't have a way out. And so I was just looking for what could the alternatives look like, or, who could be my friend now, who could, support me, but without really being intentional with that. It's just out of necessity. And as an extrovert, I don't have much of a problem making new friends. But in my state where I had very low self-worth, it was very challenging for me to reach out in what would have been an authentic way and say, I think my husband and I aren't happy. I had one conversation. I remember I invited this mom over, and she and I had been talking. We both had kids in preschool. And I remember telling her, like, I don't think my husband and I are happy. And then she kind of turns and looks at me, probably with the same stare that I'm looking at her. And she goes, well, that is between you and your husband and God, and only he can save you. And I was like, okay, well, and after that conversation, I didn't reach out to anyone for quite a while.
I mean, you took that, you like, maybe I can put out a hand. Oh, okay, maybe not.
Like, I have been smoked.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So that was a blow at that point. So, but it took quite a while. It was about a 3-year process from gathering that support and starting to figure out, down to all the way up to, oh, maybe I do deserve to feel happy now that I kind of have an idea of what it is. And I know it's not this. Probably something else. So
I do want to say, though, that person, whoever she was, I admire her ability to set boundaries.
Yes, that is very good, because I would have had a teenage, like, I'm going to vomit all my emotions all over you at that moment. And she was,
nope. She was like, that's not the kind of friend I want to be.
I am here to talk with you about manicures and pedicures, maybe drinking, but probably not drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just was an unfortunate time for that boundary to be set for you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And not nowadays, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool.
yeah.
Dang. No problem. No problem. Here, just pass the cookies. All right.
Yeah. But when you're like drowning and somebody comes by in a boat and they're like, no, I'm sorry, you can't come into my boat. And there's like, goes on by. You're like, oh, okay.
I have this life preserver, but it's not for you.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's for somebody else, but
It's
good
even
luck.
worse. God will send you one. Don't worry.
Just keep praying. Like,
Yeah.
okay. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had the other. I'm glad you did have the one pastor that was trying to study to
So
help you
that
kind of
pastor, he
pick
was
things
great.
apart.
And I had a friend who was kind of like my cheer bear. She was like the unsinkable Molly Brown. She supported whatever iteration of myself that I was throwing out that day and said, yes, you can have more wine and we're gonna cry and get through this. And so we probably had very bad boundaries. Like our boundaries are very, very enmeshed. And I
Yeah.
think at that point that was just what I needed to be vulnerable. I needed to kind of have those loose boundaries. But now my boundaries much, much better. So
Yeah. Well, and boundaries are different for each relationship, you know? So depending on what it is. Maybe you don't need types of boundaries like that with your friend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Different relationships do have different boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you said to her, you know what I really want to do? I want to rob a bank. And I want you to do that with.
Can we infiltrate the government systems,
Yeah.
treasury, because I need some money and thanks.
Yeah. And then she was like, let's do it. Then I would be like, boundaries aren't great.
Boundaries are a necessity for life.
Yeah.
Or I guess for living as your true self, I would say definitely.
It is definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what is one thing you would say now to that earlier version of yourself?
Oh gosh, am I gonna be able to do this without crying? Let's see. Like every time I tell the story about the leather jacket, there's like a little part of me that gets choked up and I'm like, keep a hold of yourself, Heather. You can do this.
You don't have to, you can let it go.
Yeah, I think that I would say to her, you have a special energy and it really matters in this world and you need to shine it. You need to figure that out. I would say that your energy matters here on this earth and people need it. And so do whatever you need to do to learn to shine that light. I think that's what I would tell her. Because I think that that's the way that I was able to learn to shine my light and to give myself permission to do that was to be like through helping other people. But also through helping other people, I did learn some boundaries and I did learn my self-worth and all of that. So yeah, I don't really like being the spotlight, but I'm able to be that spotlight when I know I'm holding the purpose is for others and I'm holding the space for others. Like when I'm teaching yoga, yeah, I'm the one up there and everybody's looking at me, but I'm doing it for everybody else and I'm holding that space of safety and nurturing for them. So
you're creating that container, that beautiful, safe container.
Yeah. And so that's how I would say it to her, because I know because of who I am now, that would get through to her. So yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
What about you? What would you say?
So I wrote this question, so you would have thought I would have thought about it beforehand. I would probably say some very short things that are more, I think that's how I would be able to get through to myself. First, I would start with the very basic of you are enough. And because I was just a human doing, I was like volunteering in the community. I had 2 little kids. I had a husband that, I was on all the time, 24/7.
Yeah. Trying to prove
Yeah.
yourself, prove your worth the whole time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, through my ability to take care of other people and take care,
Yeah.
make everything just a peaceful harmony in my environment, in my home environment especially.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, and I don't even know if I'd be able to understand that, I would say it's enough to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge.
Because as a Enneagram 2, everything in my world revolves around how am I taking care of things? What things do I need to take care of today? And how am I going to take care of them? That's the lens I see the world. And that would be the same true for me then and now. So I would have maybe let myself say no
Mm-hmm.
to some things, and I could just see myself like falling asleep for like a couple weeks to recuperate
Yeah. Yeah.
from life and restore. And and if if I felt that I would understand this, then I would say that I was worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the key, isn't it? Would you understand it or believe it?
Yeah, once you get, once I got to a point where I think I went to 4 main stages before I could 3 stages before I could really hear that and understand what it meant. And yeah, to get to a point where I feel worthy and everything I'm doing is in honor of myself, so that I'm always taking care of myself and I always have a bandwidth to share my light and share my stories and share my joy and my goofy moments with others. And I can always tell now, like when my cup's not full, then I'm like, oh, I got the Enneagram 2 resentment building up. I might have a snarky comment for you soon. Time to fill up my cup instead of, snarking all over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the worth is just getting to the point of like loving yourself and knowing that you're worthy. And only from that point was I able to walk into believing in myself. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of the last thing. And that's at that point that brought me to feeling joy. Only when I believed in myself, I could actually take brave steps forward and say, this is what I want to do, and this is why it's so important to me. I'm tapped into my intuition, and I know like every single thing, my codependence, my recovery journey, my momhood, like even my like 17 years of working in nonprofits, some of them highly toxic, all of my experience just kind of funneled into this one thing. It says, all right, you are here to help people awaken to their joy. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's do this. Let's do this in my own wacky way.
Yep. Because you believe that you're not going to connect with everybody, but you will. Your message, the way you say it, connects to certain people, and that's what matters. You're not for everybody. Like I know some people who love Brene Brown, and I think she has a good message, and I think she's a really cool lady. But every time I sit down to listen to one of her books, I just am like, it's not happening. I just can't. I just can't. I can't get into the jive of it, and it makes me so sad because I know she has so many wonderful things to say. You know, so and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is it like, I guess that we're both our own Brene Browns, that we're
Yeah. We're not a magic meant for everybody. Just
no.
other fellow
Well done.
unicorns,
Mm-hmm.
or
And
unicorns.
I think you feel the same way. As the other reason we're doing this is because we've seen other women in the same place that we used to be, and in different parts of our journey. Like we've seen it, and neither one of us are saying we're done with our journey. That's not, neither one of us are saying that. We're continuing forward. Yeah, I know.
Every time, like, I'm at the top of the bed.
Yeah.
I'm at another vista point. Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Let's take a break and keep going.
Yeah. And so both of us have seen women, and we're like, I see you. I know where you're at, and I promise it can be better. promise that it can be better. Little side note, Vista Point, I climbed a 14er once. And I was so angry by the top because I'd be like, climb, 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 look up. Okay. Climb, 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 look up. Why is it not any closer?
Is this a metaphor for life again?
It is a metaphor for life again. But by the time we got to the top, you know, my friends are like, oh, look at this view. Isn't it amazing? And I'm like, I effing hate this mountain.
Where's my sled? I need to get down now. I want the sled.
Mountain. I'm going to eat my peanut butter jelly sandwich and then I'm head down. So I was so angry. So I've never done that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me.
All right. So we are going to move into our No Seriously.
Okay.
No Seriously segment. So I'm going to go first. You'll not believe. So I read this book, Burnout. Have you read Burnout?
I think no, but you were telling me about it.
Yeah. So Amelia and Emily Nagoski, I hope I'm pronouncing their names right, wrote a book by the title that every single woman in the world can relate to. And they have a lot of really good information in there. But one of the things that really got me going was that the BMI, the body mass index, was created in a room with 9 people, 7 of whom are employed by the weight loss industry.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. And if you're underweight, you have more health. They did studies. If you're underweight, according to the BMI, you have more health risks than if you are in the overweight or obese category. So clearly it's not an indication of health. So.
Wow. And that BMI thing is not like, I had one client and she came back from the doctor. She was so upset. She's like, according to the BMI, I am obese. And I looked at her and I was like, you are not obese. You go hiking everywhere. You're in good shape. And she's like, not according to the BMI.
Yeah, according to the BMI, most Olympians are overweight.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's not okay to call somebody obese. It's not okay to call somebody obese. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Like that scale is not polite. So
no.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So BMI, you can officially, I think we can just like flush it. If I had like sound effects, I would like push a button and there would be a toilet flushing.
Do we need something with sound effects?
Yeah. Maybe I'll get that. That'd be great. Okay.
Well, I don't know if this fits the bill, but it's something that happened yesterday. So I have been transferring old blogs to my new website 1 a week, and I go through and I edit them and make them a little shinier. And the blog that I wrote yesterday was a message from old Heather to new Heather. Or I past Heather to present Heather. I shouldn't say old to new, past to present. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a really good message. And it's just interesting.
I received it.
Yeah, you learn something and then you forget it. And sometimes you just need to keep relearning things. And this one was when the blog, which is on my website right now, if you want to go read it, is how about when back in the day at the yoga studio I was working at, there was this woman who decided she did not like me. And she was not nice to me. Now, she wasn't saying snarky things, but she would ignore me. I would say hello when she came in. And sometimes I'd get a grunt. Most of the time, she just completely ignored me. And then like she would refuse to go into Savasana until I left the room. She would stay in just little like passive aggressive BS things. And so I knew this was a lesson. And I knew this was a lesson to like learn how to not let other people's behavior, not to react to that, to stay grounded and centered, but I really fumbled around with it at first. Like at first I was like, I'm just going to kill her with kindness. But that kindness, when she didn't respond, kind of went into sarcasm, like, have a nice day. Hope everything goes well. Like start just kind of like when she didn't respond, like,
I'm yelling kindness at you today. You are awesome.
Yeah. And then I started just ignoring her back, which is, I'm sure, what she wanted, but that didn't feel good either. And it doesn't matter because I can still feel as I'm teaching the class this like anger and just negativity radiating off of her at me. And then one day something happened and I went, oh, I'm reacting to her and trying to make her react back to me. But you know what I'm doing? Like I'm trying to, and I was like, and none of this feels good because really I'm just a happy person who likes harmony and peace. And it doesn't matter whether she likes me or not. My truth is to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I realized that, that's what I started doing. And then I felt better. And so what that means
You
is
unattached with love.
I was, yes, that I was letting her move me from my truth of who I am and learning, no, it doesn't matter who that person is, what that person does. Your truth is to treat people with kindness and respect, no matter what. And then I was like, oh, and I'm reading this going, oh, I had forgotten what that means. And so that was my little moment yesterday.
Good lesson.
My lesson.
That's a good lesson. I
Yeah.
think I've learned that lesson maybe 1,000 times.
Yes. And it's still, you still have to relearn it. It's kind of like
oh, what am I expecting? Now I say, am I expecting them to do anything?
Yeah.
And now in where I'm at, I will sit, if it's my kids, if I'm trying to do something to pave the way for them to adopt some new behavior, I will sit them down and say, I am doing this so that it enables you to do this. What do you think about that? Do you want to do that? Because if not, I'm not going to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or just let it go completely. Like, I'm not doing this, and they're on their own. So yeah, expectations.
That's interesting.
What am I expecting something back?
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to control people.
Yeah.
You don't really look at it that way, but that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's a coda lesson. All right, so now it's time for the bowl of affirmation. So
I think of it as a bowl of candy.
Candy for your heart. All right. This is your affirmation.
I cultivate healthy and loving. Oh, I think that fits with what was my little lesson yesterday.
Yeah, nice. And mine. Oh, this also fits.
I honor myself enough. Wow, well done.
The bowl of affirmation has worked. And I'm going to pick, if there's anyone listening in, I'm going to pick one more for you for this week.
I trust myself.
Okay.
Ooh, I like that one.
All right. These are in my Joy, Jumpstart to Joy guide. It used to be a Soul Sanity Jumpstart guide, but I'm moving away from Soul Sanity, and I'm going to be doing some new rebranding things soon. So it's just the Jumpstart to Joy guide. So
would you like to briefly explain why you have decided to get away from Soul Sanity?
My mission in life is to help people wake up to their joy. So my business is Joyfully Ever After Media.
I like it.
So helping guide people and show them kind of goofy, mindful stories and tools to get them to their joyfully ever after. And that doesn't mean it's not like you're ever at the top, but you can enjoy the walk, right? You don't have to eat angry peanut butter jelly sandwiches. You can do that and then and then go back into that joy. It's all part of it. It's all part of the humanity.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Part of joy is just accepting yourself for who you are, where you are.
Radical acceptance, not for the
Yeah.
faint of heart.
No, again, one of those things that sounds logical, but actually implementing it is hard and sometimes scary.
Yeah. Amen.
Yes.
Great. All right.
Yes.
Well, thanks
So,
to everyone who is watching this. Either if you have comments, we will get to them and we'll put the links to our websites. And maybe we'll see you in a couple weeks on YouTube.
yes, maybe.